Thanks to COVID-19 and the worldwide pandemic, the year 2021 is packed to the brim with exciting movies coming out basically every week. With that being said, I thought it would be fun to take a look at the roster and name my top 10 most anticipated films for the year, as well as why I'm excited about them. Starting off with number 10 is Marvel Studios' Eternals. Eternals is shaping up to be quite an interesting sounding film. For those of you who don't know, the Eternals in the MCU are an immortal, alien race that have been living secretly on Earth for 7,000 plus years. And the movie is starring a lot of big names like Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, and Salma Hayek. As if the cast alone wasn't enough to get me excited, the rumors of a young Thanos showing up, as well as the description of a movie spanning thousands of years, have got me pretty hyped for the future of the MCU. I wouldn't be surprised if this somehow leads the way for a mutant introduction later down the line either. Coming in at number 9 is Space Jam 2. Are you kidding me? Freaking Space Jam 2. Now, I'm in the minority. I honestly have only seen Space Jam a few times, and that was when I was a kid. However, I am a huge fan of its spiritual successor, Looney Tunes Back in Action, starring Brendan Fraser, Timothy Dalton, Steve Martin, and a slew of other Warner Brothers characters, including but not limited to the cast of Looney Tunes and Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. I'm hoping with modern filmmaking sensibilities, this can be a really fun and creative take on the Looney Tunes franchise. Number 8 on the list is none other than The Conjuring 3. The Devil Made Me Do It. Not enough can be said about the Conjuring franchise. Over the last decade, it has taken over the horror scene with its various spin-offs. And even though those range in quality, I'm never uninterested in the next chapter of the Conjuring universe. The decision to center these films on the Warrens as a through line connecting them all was just plain genius. I can't wait to see how the third Conjuring film attempts to outdo the first two in terms of story, and more importantly, scares. Next up is Mission Impossible 7. I will never forget seeing Mission Impossible Fallout in theaters. That was actually the second Mission Impossible film I'd ever seen at the time, as I watched Rogue Nation in preparation for it coming out. After seeing it and being absolutely floored, I became obsessed. The non-stop action and adrenaline rushes, compiled with all the reveals and twists, was unparalleled. I honestly consider Fallout to be a masterclass in action and suspense. So needless to say, I'm deliriously excited for this film, just on principle that Christopher McQuarrie is back as the director. A Quiet Place was a great film. John Krasinski's blockbuster debut blew me away. He showed such calculated and intentional directing chops and showed us a new and terrifying world as well. Even though his character won't be in it, except for maybe flashbacks, I'm still very excited because I actually thought Emily Blunt was the best part about the first one. The scene where she gives birth in silent pain is absolutely horrific and masterfully acted. I'm super stoked to see where this world goes from here. The number 5 slot is a weird one, as I'm ridiculously excited and yet simultaneously terrified of this movie. Uncharted is one of my favorite game series of all time. I always liked playing video games as a kid, mainly things like Sonic or games with magic or swords, but I always hated shooters like Call of Duty. But man, did the Uncharted franchise change my mind on that. When these games came out, they changed my whole perspective on gaming. They helped me realize games could be just as powerful as films as a storytelling mechanism. So of course I'm crazy hyped for this finally becoming a movie. However, I say I'm terrified because I am currently very unhappy with the casting choices. The decision to cast Tom Holland as Nathan Drake is absolutely insane to me, as it seems to go against the very nature of the character. However, I'm keeping an open mind and making no judgments until at least the trailer is released. La La Land, Whiplash, First Man. That's literally all I have to say. Damien Chazelle has proven time and time again he is a brilliant filmmaker. Before I made videos, I used to make top 10s lists on Facebook and also just discuss things like that with my friends. When I made my top 10 of the decade, back at the end of 2019, I put Whiplash as my number 1 film. I've never seen a movie come so close to flawlessness in recent memory. For this reason, I cannot state enough how exciting Babylon has me. Damien Chazelle, Emma Stone, and Brad Pitt, come freaking on. Even though this movie is sort of a believe it when I see it sort of thing, I cannot express how much I've been asking for this movie. I'm a huge fan of the character and a huge fan of Robert Downey Jr.'s take as well. With most of the main cast returning, I'm excited to see where Sherlock Holmes goes after their take on the Reichenbach Fall. The first Suicide Squad was one of my most anticipated movies of that year, and after seeing it, quickly became what I considered to be the worst movie I'd ever paid to see. Not only was the plot, action, and set design really crappy, but the editing was just embarrassing. I will never understand whose idea it was to use impossible to read dark purple fonts over dark backgrounds. Anyways, now that James Gunn is attached, as well as a stellar cast, I am once again looking forward to a new take on these characters. After seeing the sizzle reel released this past year, it looks like this movie is going to be hilarious and different from most comic book movies. Before I get to the number one spot, here are some honorable mentions. Baz Luhrmann's Elvis sounds very interesting. To take a musical icon like him and attach a director known for his artistic flair sounds quite enticing. Not to mention my dad is obsessed with Elvis, so we'll be able to see it together assuming it comes out in theaters, that is. I'm a sucker for murder mysteries and ensemble casts, so Death on the Nile has me interested. I thoroughly enjoyed the first remake of The Orient Express despite it receiving lukewarm reception from the critics, so I'm down to see what Kenneth Branagh's Hercule has to show. What the hell? A live-action Rugrats? How can I not be excited for this right now? I mean, let's be honest, the chances of this movie being good are pretty slim, but how weird is this movie gonna be? I'm just here for it, honestly. Okay, so the number one most anticipated movie of 2021 should be fairly obvious. It's Spider-Man 3. I mean, come on. Spider-Man is my favorite fictional character of all time. Not to mention all of the confirmed castings and rumored castings. Electro is back. Doc Ock is back. Maguire and Garfield are supposedly back. It seems like we're about to get a multiverse Sinister Six, and I'm sorry, but that shit's just cool. Even if half of these rumors are false, because of how much I liked the last one, I know this movie is going to be great. After Homecoming, I really didn't care a ton for Tom Holland's take on Spidey, but now that it seems he's finally grown into his own, I cannot wait to see a fully fledged MCU Spider-Man. And that completes my list for my most anticipated films of 2021. What did you think? My list similar to yours? Is it very different? Did I leave out some movies that you're like, what the hell, man? How'd you forget them? Whatever you feel about this list, comment it below. Please like and subscribe, and a new video will be out next week. Thanks.